According to an African proverb, and I think there are proverbs like this from all over the world, that if you educate a man, you educate an individual, but if you educate a woman, you educate a family. If you give the same woman a chance to start her business, a nation has a greater chance to prosper. This is the Moneymakers. I'm Bruce Whitfield, and tonight I'm joined by Gugu Mjadu from Business Partners to talk about the launch of the Women's Fund for Small and Medium Enterprises. Now, you could be accused of being sexist, or you could be accused of being incredibly clever, because we look at Grameen Bank, for example, my favorite example of this phenomenon in Bangladesh, and we look at what they did by doing microloans to women and women only, and they've been a global success story.
And those women were paying the money back much better than the men, right? We've learned from our own experience as business partners that it does work, but we also realize that based on our statistics, we've been averaging between 35% and 44% in terms of loans being taken up by women. And we're saying we want to get to 50%, and we are going to create a specialized fund just for women, with women finance officers to support those women with networking, and then let's see how it goes.
Now, explain to me then the rationale of this, because if, say, 33 or 34 or 35% of your loans have gone to women historically, there's a reason for it. Is it that women just haven't been that entrepreneurial, or is it that women just haven't seen the opportunities or haven't been given the opportunities that are required?
I think we're told there's many challenges that women face when it comes to entrepreneurship. People put in family responsibility and say it discourages women to go into entrepreneurship. While it's not relevant in South Africa, but we're told that women are more risk adverse, and therefore they don't necessarily go into entrepreneurship. But we also found that, like when we read the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor report last year, it indicated that early stage entrepreneurial activity amongst women was going down from 9% to 6.2%, and we're not impressed with that. And we said, what can we do? Because we do realize that the women are a big market, and we should be going to investing in them. And perhaps, as you read that proverb, I read it also as some American author who says, you educate a man, you educate a man, you educate a woman, you educate a generation. So we look at that and see how we can contribute to this country, because we definitely need entrepreneurs in South Africa.
Now, how big is this fund going to be? How much money is going to be available?
We're putting aside 250 million, only because we'll still continue funding women where there is shareholding of 25%, but with this specialized fund, it has to be 50%, and the woman has to be active in the business, because we really want people to be involved in the business, and we want to see where there's real empowerment of women.
And what sort of businesses are you looking for? I mean, does it really matter?
It really doesn't matter, as long as it's not on lending and not primary agriculture, because those are the two areas that we don't fund, but anything and everything. And what we've done is to put women who are going to support these women, who are investment people, and who are then going to support them with their application process. We've also thrown in like a couple of sweeteners. For instance, we're putting in technical assistance or mentorship up to the value of 25,000 for women who do qualify for the fund and get approved. And added to that, if you still need more money for technical assistance, we've added an interest-free loan for technical assistance at 35,000 rates.
Well, one of the biggest bugbears of entrepreneurs generally is that money is very hard to come by, and it can be very expensive. When you talk about helping fund women in their businesses, and you talk about applications, who would be allowed to apply? All women?
All
or
women.
Just some women?
All women.
Or women
been in business for 2 years, can apply.
Okay.
Submit your business plan, submit your cash flow.
What has been in business quite? If I've had, for example, 3 little mini spazas along the side of a road, have I been in business for 2 years? If I've done it for the last 2?
If you've been doing it formally, yes, definitely you've been in business. But of course,
am I going to be able to supply you with some financials to show a track record?
No, that's the question.
Yeah. but that's going to be one of the biggest problems, because so many people operate informally and don't have a formal structure. So they come to you and say, look, I've been doing what I've been doing for 5 years,
but
on a sporadic basis, on a gig basis, in this demand economy. I had 2 children in the meantime, so I don't have any financials, but here's my bank statement, you know, to show you that I've had some income.
We pride ourselves as business partners as a company that looks at the viability of the business, but also we look at the entrepreneur themselves and say, here's a person, give us your CV, let's look at what you've done over the years, and let's then price structure it in such a way that we respond to the risk that we're taking, but also talking to your needs as the entrepreneur. So I think we would look into that situation, but look at it at the entrepreneur, the experience that they have, but also look at what they're projecting going forward.
I mean, Business Partners has got loans out now of about 3.5 billion rand. You're ring fencing 250 million rand just for women.
In addition to,
but it feels like a drop in the ocean. It doesn't.
In addition to,
how seriously are you really taking it?
Because we are definitely taking it seriously. Last year we dispersed 1 billion rands, right? So this year we're targeting 1 billion rands again, 250,000 for people who, like women who have 50% ownership. They can still benefit if there is 25% ownership from the rest of the money. So you might find that we are sitting with 60% women next year if we do it right.
And what sort of demand have you got? Have you got women beating your door down in order to access these funds?
We are looking at women actively. So we are looking for women. We have funded, or hopefully will fund, a woman from this fund on Friday when we go to our investment committee. So we think that women will be interested. We had a launch this morning where we had Dr. Judy Dlamini sharing her own experiences, and some of the challenges that I speak about are the challenges that she also faced when she started out. So we do think if we play our cards right and talk to women organizations, and we're encouraging women to participate in chambers where there are women, so that we can find them as well and tell them about this fund and tell them how they can benefit from it.
What's the likely amplifier effect of this 250 million rand? We talk about women being better at managing their money, growing their businesses, being more nurturing to
improving
the communities.
their livelihoods, growing their economy.
All of that. What is the amplifier effect of 250 million rand in this context? How will you measure it?
Well, we do have like a couple of things that we look at in terms of impact. We do look at job creation. We do look at the employment that you've created in the business. We do look at women participation in your business. So we're hoping that it will necessarily like encourage other young women to go into entrepreneurship, because they will be seeing people who are successful. And those are the people that we hope then will inspire the youth to go into entrepreneurship. And for us, it's all about unleashing entrepreneurs for South Africa.
I mean, we look, for example, at the top 100 companies on the JSE. 3 are run by women. The Barclays Africa Group has got Maria Ramos as chief executive. JSE has got Nikki Newton-King, and then you've got Lizay Lambrecht running Santam. And that's it.
And that's it. 4% of the JSE.
Yeah, and that's an indictment of the way in which business has been done for a long time. How does funding startup, early stage entrepreneurs change the dynamic of sexism in the workforce?
I think for me, we should also not bash ourselves too much, because actually if you look at American figures as well, 30% of businesses making a profit of $1 million are on 1 in 5 is owned by women. You look at the UK, we look at patents that are allocated to businesses, only 8.3% are allocated to women-run businesses. So we are far behind. But people who've been in this space for a very long time are also lagging behind. So it does say that we need to take gender equality very seriously as a country, but also as the world. And therefore, for us, we think that this fund is going to assist us then to just encourage more women to go into entrepreneurship. And people who go into entrepreneurship are going into spaces usually where they have worked and have their experience, because that's when you have the confidence to go into that business. And if the stats that we are talking about the JSE and even management in general, then we are in trouble if women are not in management positions, because they are not going to be encouraged to go into entrepreneurship.
Are you looking, I mean, the DTI has come up with this idea that it should fund 100 black industrialists, for example. It's got a very specific format, and we must create the creators of industry. We must create the next Johan Rupert's, and we must do the sort of thing for South Africa's good, and it may or may not work. When we look at the sort of businesses that many women start up for themselves, they tend to be in the services industry, lots of people in physiotherapy, for example, because frankly it's better to work for themselves than it is to work for somebody who takes half of the money for just using their premises. for example. Would you fund those kind of businesses that are providing a service rather than creating product and creating new employment?
Definitely, this fund is not going to create black industrialists, but it will definitely get women into the door of entrepreneurship. We would fund physiotherapists. We have done pharmacists in the past, so we'll do that. For us, it's about every little step is important for us to get to that point where there is gender equality.
Will you make lots of money out of them?
We always make lots of money.
There we go. That's what we like to hear. Because the point is, unless you do, unless you're going to
you won't do it.
You're not going to have funds for the next year.
So we definitely need to make money, and we definitely need to have an impact.
Is this 250 million rand an annual commitment, or is it simply a startup fund?
It is a start, but for us, if we run out, we will allocate money back into the Women's Fund. So for us, it's about demand. We're saying there's 250 million rands. Come and get it if you qualify. But definitely, if it runs out, we then move some funds into it.
Are the same hurdles in place? Are the same requirements for performance in place as they are across other funds?
There are some, obviously our criteria, but we always say that for instance, with pricing, we price it based on the entrepreneur and our discussions with them and our assessment of them. So it would be the same even for female entrepreneurs. The question is then, what else are we giving as business partners? And I think the technical assistance fund is what's going to make it different and is what's going to make it a success.
I can't wait to see the impact. I really can't. 250 million rand available for women entrepreneurs in South Africa as part of an initial fund from Business Partners. Gugu Mjadu from Business Partners joining us this evening with the details of that brand new fund. There'll be more ways for everybody to make money tomorrow, not just for women, although you can if you like. Till then, bye-bye.